When we talked to you in February, you talked a lot about recognizing the opportunity that was ahead of you and that, this was a time for you to step up. A couple months later, a couple games into the season, how do you feel like you've approached that, and how do you feel about the results that you've gotten from that?
I'm not too worried about the results. I always just go out there and do the best that I can, and, the results going to be what it be. But as far as me being ready for the new role, it's just, I feel like, this is something I was working on, and I was waiting on. So for me, it's not really like I'm thinking of it like it's a new role. I'm thinking it more of like this is something I have to do,
How does it feel now in year two being out there in game action compared to last year?
Oh, no, I feel good. I didn't really play much last year, so getting the opportunity to play in the first 2 games, and I got some significant snaps, it feels good.
What's that like, kind of going so long without playing and then finally, getting that opportunity?
It's a process, everybody has to go through, and so I went through it. We probably going to have a couple guys this year go through it, but, it's just something everybody got to go through, but I feel like with the right mindset, things could brighten up for you in the future.
Who did you lean on last year when you went through that part of it?
I wouldn't say I really leaned on anybody because going through the process, I just had to worry about myself, just worry about getting better. If the coaches felt like I was ready to be out there, then I would be out there, so obviously I wasn't ready. So just trying to lock in on my technique and all that stuff, I feel like that's what got me through it.
What's it been like getting to play with Jalen, meaningful snaps this year?
It feels good. That's my roommate at the crib too, so, we'll come home after the game and we'll talk about it and stuff. It feels good. I went to high school with him, so.
Yeah, how do you feel like he's developed, since you've known him for a while now?
I could say now he definitely looks fast, he's explosive, all that, I can't speak too much really on his technique because, he's a D and I play D tackle, so obviously I feel a little bit different, but, just happy to see him out there with me,
What kind of roommate is he?
He's a good roommate. Yeah, good
Is he
roommate.
messy? Is he clean?
Nah, not messy.
Who does the chores?
We all split it for real. If you see trash in the trash can, he'll take the trash out.
Sounds like the best roommate ever.
Yeah, it's just
I don't think most people get that roommate.
Everybody's got to use common sense,
Zane was very complimentary of you after week 1. Obviously your pressure led to his interception. Did you guys talk about that on the sidelines? What did you say?
I said good play. I told him he should have scored it, but it was just looking to it for a next play mentality,
In your development, how does having a guy like him alongside you just aid, at practice?
Well,
in the sidelines on the game?
It's more of it's a good example. He's obviously All-American, all that. And, that's something that I see myself being in the future. So it's just being able to look at that and see what it looks like, is really helpful for me.
Is there any certain habits you've picked up from him that you didn't have prior to, the relationship?
Not something that I've mastered yet, but he has a good get off. So I'm just, trying to see if I can add that to my bag.
Outside of Zane and Alonzo, it's a pretty young defensive tackle room. For you personally, how do you balance, having to contribute in the game but also focus on your development?
I would say just, having a different level of maturity. You speak about the room being young. I feel like we got a lot of mature guys, though. We got a lot of second-year players, too, so a lot of guys know what it's supposed to look like. So I feel like that makes up for the age level in the room.
Physically, have you made any strides? What's the biggest difference from year 1 to year 2?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely stronger, way stronger.
Do you have anything measurables for that?
No, I ain't got no measurables.
Anything that you feel like that's improved, whether it's on the weight room, maybe just going against the offense?
I would say my pass rush is definitely getting better. That was one of the things I wanted to focus on in the offseason, so I feel like I'm pretty happy with myself and my pass game and my run game.
How's your role changed from last year to this year? What are maybe some of the subtle differences we would notice in what you're being asked to do versus what you
last year, I wasn't even in the rotation for real. Come playoff time, I was the 4th D tackle behind Vaughn and Zane. I got an opportunity to play in 2 playoff games, but didn't get to play in that last game. But this year, I have more of a rotational role, so I'm in there in the first quarter, getting snaps, and I'm in goal line packages, so I'm out there a lot. Just trying to uphold the standard.
What did you do to earn that position?
Just hard work for real. I feel like this offseason I had to come with a different mentality than what I came with last year, and I feel like this helped propel me to the position I'm in.
What did you weigh when you got here, and what do you weigh now?
Shit, I weighed about 260 when I got here. I'm about 295 right now.
And how do you go about doing that?
Just making sure I maintain healthy eating habits, you know, not eating too much junk food, but make sure I'm getting enough protein to maintain the weight I got.
To be able to play out there with Deny and Zane, what does that mean for a young player?
I mean, they're good leaders. You know, they got a lot of snaps under their belt, so it's good to be out there with some experience.
They're pretty good players, too. I mean, do they draw a lot of attention and that maybe gives other guys
most definitely. And especially a couple games that Deny's had, you know, he definitely draws a lot of attention to himself.
How about the energy he brings? Like, is that infectious?
Yeah, it definitely radiates through the whole D-line.
You mentioned your pass rush being something you worked on and something you feel like you're doing pretty well. How do you go about, I guess, developing that? And did playing DN help you at all? Like playing DN?
Yeah, well, you know, it all starts with the get off, you know, and then just working your aiming points. You know, trying to beat him to his outside shoulder. You know, see what type of puncher he is. If he's a high hand puncher, if he come in a two-hand puncher, maybe a one-hand puncher. So just really getting more football smarts has also helped me with my pass rush.
You watch a lot of film like on that stuff?
Yeah.
How much film does the defensive tackle watch? Like where are you kind of in?
I can't really put it into like a specific number for real, but we do watch a lot of film.
What can you tell us about Coach Barnes?
He's a great coach. You know, he's really aggressive. You know, he's gonna push you. You know, and he's gonna make you uncomfortable. You know, because really that's the only way you can get better for real if you're uncomfortable.
To like having a D tackle room that leads the team in interceptions.
You know, it's really cool. You know, one of our D tackles, Owen Waffle, he was takeaway king in the spring. So you know, it's just I feel like that goes to prove that you know practice does translate to the games.
Are you next?
I hope so, yeah.
What do you guys do at practice? Zane and Alonso both talked about the D tackles being able to recognize screens, to be able to blow them up.
Yeah, just learning how to retrace, you know, seeing when the offensive line is getting out. You know, that's just simple keys that can show you it's a screen, which will set you up to get that interception.
Who are some of the offensive linemen that have given you some fits during camp, and then how important is that for you in your development, being able to see a deep room like that? You know?
Well, you know, we have a really good offensive line, so, you know, Donko, Venga, and Nick Dawkins, you know, all of them have given me great fits, you know, and I feel like that's also helped me develop as a player. You know, Venga, he's probably one of the best offensive linemen in the country, you know, so just going against him every day, like, you got no choice but to get better.
Speaking of your teammates, Chaz has been pretty impressive so far.
Yeah.
What has he done stuff in practice that kind of hinted that this was coming for him?
Oh yeah, well listen, if you ask anybody within the facility, then nobody would be surprised off his performance. Everybody know he's a dog, you know, and he's only gonna keep getting better.
How would you describe your process of learning Jim Knowles' defense?
You know, I feel like he does a really good job at explaining it, but I would just say, you know, taking the extra time, you know, putting in the extra work to go in and meet with him and talk with him about, all right, coach, what I got right here, coach. So, and also just, you know, going over the film at the crib, you know, I'm laying down before I go to bed, you know, making sure I'm getting my plays right for tomorrow's practice, just little stuff.
What are those conversations like with him after games going over tape?
You know, he's really critical. You know, we always think about, you know, how we could get better, you know, because the good stuff is the good stuff. You know, we're a pretty good football team, so, you know, we're going to make plays, you know, but it's all about those mess-ups, you know, getting those corrections right.
Thanks, Xavier.